It's happening, folks. Dominion Voting Systems has finally acted on their threat to sue Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, and they're getting sued for about $1.3 billion. So this is great. They've been threatening Lindell and his company for quite some time, and they've decided, all right, that's it. We've had enough. We're going to sue your ass. Now, in its complaint, the company cites a number of statements made by Lindell, including in different media appearances. I've showed you video of that, where he's like, oh, no, you don't understand. The fraud. I got a movie out that shows all the fraud. And social media posts before he got banned off Twitter, and a movie, a literal 2-hour movie that claims to prove election fraud. I mean, look, you can't say he wasn't asking for it. He was absolutely asking for it. He made a movie and he's like, come at me, bro. Come at me. Now, the complaint alleges that Mr. Lindell had made false claims about the integrity of Dominion's voting machines, and that he knew that no credible evidence supported this his claims the company had stolen the election from Mr. Trump. So now, I kind of disagree with this, just a little bit. All right. So that's what the suit says, that he knowingly did this. I'm not convinced that he knowingly said this, right? And I'll get to that later on. It's interesting, and you may disagree with me on that. Totally fine. So I'll go over it and I'll give you my perspective. All right. But first, let me just mention credible evidence. Credible. We know that MAGA doesn't believe in credible sources of information, nor do they believe in evidence. They cite random blogs and YouTube conspiracy theories, conspiracy videos. And by the way, I still think they use chain emails. I don't know if they do or not, but I know for a long time they definitely did. All right. So now, here's what they said, the complaint. He is well aware of the independent audits and paper ballot recounts conclusively disproving the big lie. But Lindell sells a lie to this day because the lie sells pillows. Look, okay, that's a really good statement. And there is truth to that. I always wonder, is there enough MAGA? Is he selling enough pillows to make up for losing $1.3 billion or possibly losing $1.3 billion? Again, yeah, sure, MAGA crowd will buy just about anything with Trump's face on it. But they'll buy Trump masks. They'll wear Trump masks. I'm pretty sure there are Trump, you know what? Let's just not go there, okay? I was just gonna say some Trump-themed adult toys that I'm sure someone will buy. That I'm sure somewhere are out there. Not going there though. We're not going there. But the point is, there's only so much of that people can buy. It just doesn't make any sense, right? But then again, what do you have a market outside of Donald Trump? I hear those pillows are terrible quality, right? So that maybe shilling for MAGA is all he's got. Now, the suit names the company, by the way, as well, as a defendant. So now what was the reaction from Lindell? Triple down. Or could we even call it a quadruple down? All I know is that he's like, no, this is great. Quote, in an interview Monday, Mr. Lindell said he was very, very happy to learn of the lawsuit. Very, very, very happy. I have all the evidence on them. Now this will get disclosed faster. All the machine fraud and an attack on our country. The machines, the machine. Yes, the ones that were supposedly programmed by the ghost of Hugo Chavez to rig the election in favor of in favor of Joe Biden against Donald Trump. Yes, that quote unquote machine fraud. Now, what's interesting about this is that what happened in 2016 then? So I mean, if the Democrats were the masters of voter fraud, then how come? And they had these machines, right? Because these machines were allegedly, created to help Hugo Chavez in his elections in the early 2000s. Well, then, I mean, what happened? Why the Democrats supposedly had these machines sitting around for all this time? For all this time, why not use them? I mean, 2016 would have been the perfect year to use them, right? Right? And if you had a machine, by the way, that made sure that you never, ever lost an election, why wouldn't you use them all the time? Why don't the Democrats have a majority in every single state? Or even nationally? Why are there Republicans that are in control of states, for example, like Texas? Or hell, why not take over Louisiana and Arkansas and Alabama? Why not do all of that? Why is the whole country not blue? Well, it's maybe because it's bullshit. I mean, and why, by the way, even reach out to Republicans like Democrats always do? Okay, reach out to Republican voters by trying to meet them at so-called on their terms, which, look, there's an interesting phenomenon about conservatives. It turns out they hate the same kind of corruption. They hate big corporations and all money in politics and all that stuff as much as we do. But you can't mention anything to do with any sort of leftist policies because they have been trained like a Pavlovian response, to hear that kind of stuff, any kind of rhetoric that even, is close to stuff that you hear Democrats say. And they're immediately tuned in like, oh, no, fair pay, Venezuela. Higher wages, Venezuela. Minimum wage, Venezuela. So it's just like that reaction, right? But if you can get outside of that and actually have a conversation with a lot of them, and I'm not saying all of them, but like I would say a good number of them about that kind of stuff. They're like, oh yeah, no, I agree with you. We should have healthcare. Everybody should have healthcare. Oh, well, wonderful, great. Some stuff like that. But anyway, why would you, though, have to reach out to Republicans like that in the way that Democrats do when you could just use your magic machines to steamroll Republicans every single election? It makes absolutely no sense. And there's a reason, of course, is because it's not true. It's just all fake conspiracy nonsense. Still, Dominion's lawsuit does accuse Mr. Lindell of repeatedly and falsely alleging that algorithms in Dominion's voting machines had stolen the votes from Mr. Trump. So what's their evidence, right? Algorithms. Break it down. Algorithms. Algorithms. Climate change. Democrats. Algorithms confirmed as deep state. That's as far as the thinking goes. Seriously. That's as far as it goes. All right. Now, there's more. It said he had undertaken a marketing campaign for the pillow company based on his support for Mr. Trump and his claims that the election had been stolen from him. Dominion says the allegations by Lindell have irreparably damaged its reputation, jeopardized its contracts with state and local governments, and prompted death threats and harassment against employees. The company says it supplies election equipment used by more than 40% of U.S. voters. And so, as a result, this case is pretty airtight for Dominion. Again, in fact, he's asking for it. It's like, yeah. No, I'm just going to keep saying these things. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, again, they make election equipment with that cloud of election fraud, these lies being spewed out over that, unfortunately, a lot of Republicans actually believe that this had happened. Well, now, who's going to buy those systems? Who's going to buy it, right? Even with no evidence, as election officials had recounted and audited millions of paper ballots in multiple states, which all matched up to, by the way, the counts from the Dominion machines. And then you add in the threats, by the way. It's just not looking good for Lindell. It's just not. So now, again, getting back to why I kind of disagree with that complaint. I think Mike Lindell, to some extent, believes his own bullshit. He's gotten high off his own supply. And that's not me, of course, like making fun of him due to his drug past. That's just a funny coincidence there. But no, this is what happens with these some of these people who are in the extreme right wing. They get high off their own supply. They believe in the bullshit that they spread. Okay. And for me, I don't know, maybe I'm too logical. I'm too logical of a person. I think about these things, right? I just don't think that somebody who faces $1 billion lawsuit, I don't think that they would do so if they didn't believe that they were right. If they didn't have some sort of conviction that, no, I really do have the truth. I have the truth. And I'll prove it. I made a movie. It's a 2-hour movie that really proves nothing, but nonetheless, it's a movie and everybody's going to agree with me. No. This could easily bankrupt him and his company. And I just don't see why he'd want to do that. Sure, the victimhood complex would be epic, but then he would also be poor. And so, I don't know. I just don't think he'd want to do that. If anything, he would try to take the Fox News Newsmax angle, right? And for a while, they were smart enough to stop pushing the Dominion nonsense, as the voter fraud nonsense, especially even after Fox News got sued by Smartmatic for $2.7 billion. But for the pillow guy, you can't shut him up. You could try to stuff a pillow in his mouth or, smother him. You can't smother the truth, according to him, right? And so you can't shut him up. And it's going to have disastrous results for him. In fact, Megan Meyer, attorney for Dominion, said Lindell has become one of the leading promoters of claims that Dominion rigged the election. Even as some of his allies have started to quiet down a bit, Mr. Lindell has doubled down and tripled down. Ms. Meyer told the Wall Street Journal last week. Dominion's complaints that the company has sent letters to Mr. Lindell in December and January, demanding retractions and detailing factual errors in his allegations. But again, that is not going to matter because he believes his bullshit. He just buys it, and that's it. He's buying it and he's selling it. And yeah, he's going to sell a couple of extra pillows, but that's not going to make up for the losses. So far, he's lost a number of retailers, all right, since he began promoting that election fraud claim. And that's not, I just don't think he's going to sell enough pillows and whatever else to make up for it. If it's purely a grift, I don't see the gain. I just don't. Sell a few pillows and then you get destroyed in court. I mean, no, it doesn't seem like a solid business plan to me. There could be a third alternative to this, though. It might not be that he believes his bullshit or he's just a grifter. Maybe, and this might be the most plausible thing, maybe he's just really stupid. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.